Welcome to Try to Thrive, the podcast where passion meets endurance and every finish line is just the beginning. We're here to inspire, challenge, and share our journey through swim, bike, run, and beyond.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Try to Thrive. Today with a guest that I was waiting for a long time to have here, Lukasz Wojt. And to say a few words about Lukasz, some could say he was born to swim. Even his grandfather, Marek, already competed in the 1952 Olympic Games. Lukasz is a triathlete, especially for long distance races, but before he was a swimmer specialized in 200-meter freestyle and 200-meter, 400-meter individual medley, multiple Polish and German national championships in various disciplines. Perhaps one of your highlights, bronze medalist at the 2008 short course European Championships in the 400-meter individual medley, and of course, Olympic Games 2008 in Beijing. But that's not everything. After he finished his swimming career, he became a triathlete. Several top 10 finishes in middle distance and long distance races. First place in Ironman 70.3 Luxembourg with a time of 3 hours 49. Best full distance Ironman finish time, what I found online, 8 hours 3 minutes 21 seconds last year with over 40 years at Challenge Almer. So that's a time someone has to reach with over 40. And for sure, people that are interested in improving their swimming skills, I'm pretty sure everyone knows this viral video of you from the Ironman Copenhagen in 2021, if I'm correct, where you swam sub 44 minutes. Furthermore, Lukasz is an A-licensed swim and triathlon coach and worked as a coach for the swimming base in Baden-Württemberg.
Bayern.
Lukasz, in Bayern. Oh, very close. It's both in Germany.
That's a great difference in Germany. When you say someone from Bavaria, he works for in Baden-Württemberg, you get in trouble.
Okay, I take it back. It was only a test. Thanks for joining, Lukasz. After reading out loud all your achievements and your career, I really have to ask you one thing in the beginning, and please be honest. Did you actually learn how to swim before you could walk?
My mom says yes, because we were on a ferry to Sweden one day. I was 8 months old, and there was a pool on the ferry. And my mom told me that she just threw me in the water there.
Wow.
And, just to see what happened.
And
so
it works.
I think maybe I didn't learn swimming first, but pretty much in the same time as walking. So yeah.
So that's quite a CV. In case of swimming, you are the man in triathlon coming out of the water, mostly always first, or at least with the first people. I never saw a video where you were not first, actually. And yeah, even your mother was also a swimmer, right? So your whole family was into swimming, correct?
Yeah, my whole family. My grandfather was actually the first Polish world record holder in 100 breast in the 1950s. And my mother and dad and also grandmother at least made it to European championships. So yeah, I had to
Yeah.
swim. There was no other choice when you were born in this family.
It was in your blood.
Yeah.
Someone can say. Yeah, and we both have also one thing in common. We are both Polish and German. You were born in Poland, but you moved as a child to Germany, so you're fluent in Polish, German,
Yeah.
and English. That's one thing we have in common. We are both triathletes, but not really at the same level, we can say, especially not swimming. And I would like to ask you my next question is, you entered triathlon with world-class swimming skills, we can say it's just a fact. And for many triathletes, especially age groupers, it's basically the dream. That's what people dream of because most of the triathletes, similar to me, they're basically happy that they stay afloat in the water and that they can
Yeah.
somehow move forward. Yet you made the shift to triathlon just as a swimmer, and you also had two different disciplines where you had to get used to it. How was the shift for you, getting from swimming to triathlon with the other two disciplines? Take us back to those early triathlon
Uh,
days.
well, actually, maybe I start how it started or how I got involved in triathlon at all. So I was pretty young actually because back then triathlon was not that popular as it is today. So I think it started in the mid 90s already. I was like 12, 13, 14 years old, and I was just swimming, and I was on a small club back then here in Germany, where we had limited pool hours per week. So I lived close to Darmstadt, in Germany, near Frankfurt. And there was a huge triathlon community with Lothar Leder. Maybe some of you know him. That was the first guy who broke the 8 hours. So, and one of the coaches who was there also coached him 2 times a week in triathlon swimming. So, because we had so little hours at our club, I went there and swam with him 2 times a week. And I was, like I said, he was in his prime back then. And I was just a 12, 13-year-old kid. And I was already as fast as him. So we were like, yeah, like teammates actually in swimming.
Okay.
I pushed him, he pushed me. And that's how I got involved in triathlon pretty early already. Because I think back then, a lot of 12, 13-year-old people didn't even, or kids didn't even know what triathlon is. It's completely different now. You cannot compare it. But back then, yeah, and for me back then, it was a different time and a different was just different because there was always something special when you even the age group people were heroes for me because it was something unbelievable to just finish an Ironman. And I mean now I think it's so many races and so many people do it. It's not that special anymore as it was back then.
Yeah, back then it was
But
pretty special. I remember when I was a child, I couldn't even imagine myself doing something like that. And
yeah, it
in
was
the early
something
2000s, it
unbelievable.
was for me something, yeah,
Yeah, it was
crazy.
something unbelievable. I remember we went to the Tour de France in 1999 or 2000, I think, with a bunch of triathletes to watch the stage in Alpe d'Huez. And they had just finished Ironman Frankfurt 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago. And I was actually assuming that we go there for cycling because I liked cycling when I was a kid already. When you remember, maybe also when here the T-Mobile Telecom team was popular in Germany,
Of course.
I became a fan right away and already started cycling back then.
So
So
you
cycling,
also had
cycle,
a road bike back then?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So actually,
Okay.
I started cycling pretty early when I was also like 13, 14 years old. Anyways, we went to the Tour de France and they finished an Ironman Frankfurt 3 weeks ago. And I was assuming that we go there because we went there for a week, like 1 week earlier before the tour arrived at the stage in Alpe d'Huez. Actually, also for cycling. And they said, no, we cannot cycle so much because we are still tired from Ironman Frankfurt. And I said, come on, you did it 3 weeks ago. And you should be recovered already. And they really couldn't walk. So, but yeah,
Ah,
I got to know how demanding that sport is
yeah. Yeah, okay.
pretty early.
So that was your beginning. Basically, did you already do when you were a child a triathlon or you only
No, no,
trained with
no.
him?
I mean, I just trained swimming. I did a little bit of cycling, never ran because I hated running. I'm still hating it. And
But
yeah, but
you are pretty good at running when you run a
uh,
sub 3 hour marathon. For someone who
yeah,
hates it, that's pretty
but
impressive.
these days, sub 3 hours is also not that fast anymore.
Yeah, but still, like,
Especially in the last 5 year or 4 or 5 years, a lot has changed. But maybe we come to this later. Anyways, the thing was, we always talk with because I had a lot of friends who did triathlon back then, like I said, and it's always like the talking, yeah, you need to do an Ironman once you finish with swimming. And that actually was a goal or a thing which I kept in mind and always wanted to do, just to have the experience what happens to my mind and to my body
mm,
after like 6, 7, or 8, 9 hours when you get really tired and think you cannot walk anymore. And that was something what was driving me to do an Ironman or to do triathlon. I was not like interested in like Olympics
mm,
or Olympic distance or middle distance, middle distance maybe a little bit, but the main goal was just to get to know yourself a little bit better. What happens when you get really, really, I said, fucked up, like
yeah,
after 7, 8, or 9 hours.
I know. And the decision to start with triathlon, you took already basically before. You knew that after your swimming career, you want to do a triathlon, a long distance triathlon, and then you
Yeah,
just shifted. Did you know that you want to become a professional triathlete, or it just
this
happened
was,
one after another?
I mean, it was never a plan to do it professionally because I stopped swimming in 2012 and got a really good job right away. As like how do you say it? And like a
Um, yeah, the base
yeah,
coach for the open water swimming base
yeah,
in Bayern, right?
for Bayern and later then also for whole Germany.
Hmm.
So yeah, I took it and I still had a little bit time to train. And because, like I said, I always wanted to do a triathlon. And then I started, I was, I think, already 35, 4 years old when I really started to do it. Like, I mean, I did like after 2012, I um, did 2 years nearly nothing. I swam a little bit or cycled a little bit or started running a
Hmm.
little bit, did something in the gym, but not really structured. I woke up or did my shift in the pool, and then I had a little bit time before the afternoon training, and then I did whatever I wanted. And then in 2016, I started to do it a little bit with the structure and did also my first races. And because I knew that I'm always going to be the fastest swimmer, I started pro right away. So I never did the age group race before.
Oh, you
I
never
mean,
did it. Okay.
I did one. I did one, and then in Kraichgau, it was Challenge Kraichgau back then. And then I was pretty good. I was the fastest swimmer, 2 minutes faster than the pros. And I said, I don't want to do this. I want to start with the pros.
Yeah.
And then I got pro. Yeah, I lead actually every race. Uh, Sometimes till the end. Sometimes they caught me on the bike. I was pretty good on the bike already, as I said, because I started early. And so for the sponsors, it was always interesting because I was in front. When you say we have a 4 hours race, I was at least like 2.5, 3 hours. I was in front, and the camera was always on me
Yeah.
back then. And so I got to know the people from the PIVAC racing team, and they said, "Oh, do you want to join the team? We are professional, and we see how it goes." And then, yeah, that's how it started.
Yeah.
But like I said, it was never the plan to be professional. I wanted to finish one Ironman and then leave it.
That's interesting. And when you think back at the time when you started training for your first Ironman or the first Ironmans, how was it especially with the running? Because you said that you don't really like to run. How was the shift to get to run also? Because perhaps you weren't even running at all for the past 10 years
Yeah,
or 20
very,
years.
very little, very little. I mean, as a kid, I was running a little bit in school or something like this, but like I never liked it. And I learned it really the hard way. I had two stress fractures in 2015 and 2016 because I started practice actually from zero to I think almost 3,000 kilometers a year.
That's pretty
So
a
yeah,
lot.
that was a lot and too much for the body. And yeah, I learned it the hard way. A lot of injuries at the beginning.
And how long did it take you to get to this running level you had last year?
Actually, I never got to a decent level so far. I
I
always
think you
tried and tried.
I know you as a very humble person, but I think here you are a little bit too humble because
No,
running
no, but look,
under
because
3 hours, that's for even without a triathlon before, that's impressive.
yeah, back then it was good, but now look like now 2:44, 45 is a pretty average time already. But I mean, of course, I know the new super shoes, they make people faster. And I mean, yeah, maybe in 2016, 17, 18, 19, it was a okay time back then. But now, like I said, times have changed a lot.
Yeah.
People are faster. I mean, it's natural because I always have to be honest. I never would have started being a professional triathlon if the level would be as high as it is today.
Mm.
Because but I know that it happened because look, you cannot start with 34 being a professional athlete and winning races. That doesn't happen in any other sport. When you do that in swimming or track and field, you maybe qualify for regional meet or something, but you
Yeah.
don't win anything. And I mean, triathlon was really young, and look, all the people in the 2010 to 2020 years, there was like a bunch of people who did some sport and started pretty late. Like, for example, Sebastian Kienle become world champion. I know him pretty well. And I said, come to my group. I coach like 12, 13-year-old kids, like, I mean, good kids who qualify later for junior world championships and stuff like this. But I say, come to join me for one workout with them. And they kick your ass when you swim 1500 against them. A 13-year-old would lap you probably. So that was like the sport was back then, you know.
Yeah.
That was lucky for me because otherwise I would never been a professional athlete.
Yeah. Yeah, the
And I
professional
mean
sport
now,
is much more professional than it was 10, 15, 20 years ago. That's true.
yeah, but actually I knew that it's gonna happen. I also remember when I come 2017 to the Pivak racing team, I talked with Marino van Honacker. Maybe some of you know him. He was Ironman. He has the fastest time with 7:42 for a couple of years.
Hmm?
Ironman world best time. And I came to him. I actually, it was pretty dumb for when I think back because I was like new in the sport. And I thought to him, Marino, I think your time is really good, but wait a couple of years, it will be a standard time. This will be nothing special. He said, no, 7:42 is really fast. And I explained it up, but wait, I saw it how it is in swimming. For example, open water is the same because open water got 2008 became first time open water swimming became the first time an Olympic event in 2008. And also there I saw how the sport changes through the
Hmm.
years because you need to look at the generation now with the 20 and 25-year-olds now. It's actually the first generation in triathlon who really started as kids doing triathlon.
Yeah.
The generations before, like I said, there were like a couple of guys who did some sport and then got into triathlon. But now
Yeah.
when they start with like it is in swimming, when you start like with 6, 7 years old, when you're 6, 7 years old, and start with a sport, you get the perfect technique in all three
Yeah.
disciplines. And that's why there are so many and so good young guys now. I mean,
Yeah.
it's logic, and that's how it should
It's
be.
true.
Because as I said, I won Ironman Luxembourg when I was 37 years old and just started doing the sport for 2 years. So that's actually ridiculous when you see it like this.
Makes it even more impressive, I would say. I would say even if you think it's not it was not what it is now, but
Now,
still.
back then it was of course also great, but like I said, you cannot compare these times now with 8 or 6,
Yeah.
7 years, eight
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, now the generation comes in who did this, who started the sport as a really, really young. It's really, really young kids.
Yeah. Yeah. It's also still, when I think about it, I see a lot of similarities to the general person that starts with triathlon because you were starting coming from swimming, having background in cycling as well, getting into running, not liking running, but
Yeah.
training for it and getting really good at it to a certain degree that you run during a long distance triathlon sub 3 hours. So that is pretty impressive. And most of our listeners, they are exactly these type of people. They have some background in cycling or in
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
running, not very often swimming. Uh, there are not many people I know that have a background in swimming. The most
Yeah,
people
yeah, that's true.
in this community, they have no background in swimming and they look at you and think like, how is he able to swim and then become a runner like that with no running background? So that's quite an achievement.
Yeah, but I also have to say that running cost me a lot of nerves because I was studying, talking to people, had some coaches and video filming and stuff. And I don't know, I never met someone who really can explain me how 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 to do it right, when
Mm,
which muscle has to work. And that's actually what I'm trying to do now, with my workshops when
yeah,
swimming. I try to explain to people like really every part of the stroke, which muscle have to work and which part of the stroke. And I would have wished that
mm,
someone would be there who could me explain that in running.
yeah,
Because you see running, it always look like you're moving your legs, but which muscles really works and which part of the run stride, I don't know.
yeah. I know what you mean, and I think in swimming it's probably a little bit different that you can really tell for a certain phase which muscle is working. And in running, at least for me, when I did track and field, we had a lot of technique workouts and
Yeah,
also drills, running ABC. For
yeah,
sure,
yeah,
you also
yeah.
know about that. And here it was just repetition, 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 and the coach was always giving some micro adjustments, and we had to change it. And it took for some people I know. I remember that it took them like 2 years to get a decent stride
Yeah,
to
of course,
run
of course.
normally.
Yeah, but then you
And
had a good coach.
yeah, he was very good. He was an awesome coach. He even was also a German champion in 10 kilometers running for soldiers. He ran like
Oh,
32
okay.
minutes or 33 minutes in 10K. So he was
That's
quite
awesome.
good.
But yeah, but you'll always have to look because we're talking also about my coaching later, probably.
Yeah.
Only because you're been a good athlete, it doesn't mean that you're a good coach at the same way. It's actually really sometimes the opposite. I watched a lot of people who came to workshops and tried to explain stuff, like really good world champions, Olympic champions. But if they don't get experience into coaching first and try to explain something, they think or they try to explain to people how they do it,
Yeah.
how it works for them, and they lack a little bit of the adjustment for the people because that running technique might not work for another one. Also, the swimming technique might not work for this person the same as for another one. And so we have to be a little bit flexible as a
Yeah.
coach, I think.
Yeah. That's good.
And
That's
that's
good.
I saw a lot of don't want to say names now, but also like world champions in open water swimming. I invited him to one of my workshops once. And I was really disappointed. I told him that after that too, because yeah, he has a great name and everybody's looking up to him, but his explanation were really shit,
Mm,
But because he tried to explain to people how he does it, but
yeah.
not didn't adjust it to the level of the people.
Yeah, I think
So
especially in swimming, it seems like that's even more important than in running because for sure I'm not as flexible as you are. And
yeah,
when I,
yeah, yeah.
when I look at your videos, it looks like as if your hand and your feet are above the water when you when you have
Yeah,
your
that is the thing
swim.
that the flexibility, it's really, really hard when you see especially how the people move their arm back above the water. if you don't learn it until you're like 12, 13 years old, I think you never get it
Mm.
as good as when you start as a
Yeah.
kid.
Okay, we straight get into coaching, which is actually also a very good topic because yeah, you are a professional triathlete, of course, but you are also a coach. You have several people you coach, age groupers, and you do your workshop also, which we also will talk about later. But one question I have for you, it's basically a very basic question you heard many times before. What is the most common mistakes age groupers make in swimming you locate when you work with age groupers together, or what are the advice you can give someone?
Yeah, actually, what I said that they see some videos and someone moves his arms somehow, but they don't know what actually happens. So, like I said, in swimming, it's really detailed when you have a stroke, how to do it, which muscle need to be activated, at which part of the stroke. Maybe one example, what I always see or see really often that a lot of people, as soon as their hand enters the water, they start pulling back right away. And I explained it in
That was
a
me
couple
before.
of, yeah, probably. And that doesn't work in swimming. I explained it in some of my recent videos on Instagram. That if you get your hand in the water and start pulling right away before you need to try to catch the water somehow and then pull the water behind you. If you do that, what I said, that you first enter the water and start pulling right away, the water actually goes apart and you'll pull through a empty space and then nothing happens, you know? So the at first advice would be that you have to be patient in front, catch the water, and then there's a tiny switch which takes maybe 100 of a second, but there you need to be really stable, you know, because a lot of some people get it right that they can catch the water, but as soon as they starting pulling back, they drop the elbow and the shoulder. And here you need to have the specific strength that takes time to learn that and to be able to hold the elbow and the shoulder high, not drop it. Because if you do that, you also the all water will like go through
Yeah.
under your forearm and the hand.
When
And
you say it, for me personally, it makes all completely sense. And I can imagine that a person listening to it at a similar level like me thinks the same. But doing it in the water, like feeling it when you learn it and you were not a child, that's so demanding. And for me, being like a server that swims in 2 minute pace, around 2 minute pace, I believe I do it. I'm sure I'm not
yeah,
doing it.
but I think the thing is that you need someone who tells you what to do. And I have a lot of like also one-on-one coaching, also from the workshops I did at the past years. They always came to the workshop and didn't actually know what to do. And what I do, I try to explain them. And I mean, I think 99% of the people got it right. And then it's a matter of practice and putting the hours in to get to learn it because you 100% you will notice a difference when I tell you what to do.
Mm.
There's no other way because there's such difference if you put your arm flat or like this. There
Yeah,
will be pressure under your hand, and this you notice for sure.
yeah.
And then it's a thing. The more pressure you have under your forearm and your hand, the stronger you need to be, or to more that specific swimming strength you need to have, in order to be able to hold a high elbow and the shoulder high and not drop it. But that's something you need to work on. But first of all, you need to do how to do it, and then you need to
Mm.
work on it to be stable and yeah,
Mm.
to get it stable and to get it right. And maybe the first time it's you only can swim like 25 meters with the right technique, then will become 50 and then 100 meter, and then you can do a half Ironman or a full Ironman with the right technique.
Mm. Yeah, interesting.
Depends how many hours you put in.
And from your perspective, if you are like a complete beginner in triathlon swimming, open water swimming, how much should someone train? Is it better to train every day? Is it better to have shorter workouts but daily or longer workouts?
I mean, I think when someone really started now without no background, I think the smartest thing would be to really get a coach first.
Yeah,
That you learn it right away and don't go in the water and do just something, move something, still
yeah,
the arms somehow. So I think it doesn't make sense to swim more if you don't have the right technique,
mm,
because it's will take you a lot of energy for the other sports and also for the age groupers who work. You will invest a lot and will
yeah,
gain really little. So I think with when you first need, especially in swimming, first you need to have the good technique, and then you need to work on it, and then you need to put the hours in. Because if you swim a lot but with the wrong technique,
mm.
for sure you get fitter and stuff, and you get a little bit faster. But then then you will reach a point where nothing happens anymore because the technique is so limited.
And when someone would start like this and follow your advice, that let's say he has once per week, twice per week, a coach that looks at his technique and he gets constant feedback. How would a training session for this person be structured? Should he only focus on the technique, or should he also have like different paces, trying to swim faster, slower?
Well, it depends which time of the year it is. I mean, now the races or the race season ends. When we take the time now, it's like August. There are maybe one or two races left in September for most of the people, at least for the Europeans.
Mm,
And then I would really focus in the during the winter to get the technique right, at least until until maybe until the end of the year, and maybe also to January and February. And then
mm,
hopefully you already gain some technique skills, and then you can try to swim like really good workouts with paces and stuff like this. But
yeah,
like I said, it doesn't make sense to swim like certain paces with the wrong technique, because you will improve a little bit, but with a lot of work, a lot of time, wasting time, when you can do so much more with maybe half of the time.
yeah, yeah. Sounds like my
So I
mistakes last
always,
year.
like I always tell people, you need to have a feeling. If you Because you don't have a coach every day on the pool deck who's coaching you, that would be of course be perfect. But you need to feel the difference, if you swim with the right technique now or not. And then I said to people, let's say we swim 20 times 100. So when you think the first 6, 7, 8, you swim with a good technique, and then you feel it that, oh, it is dropping and I get tired, and take a little rest, extra less, or swim 100 easy, and then try to continue.
Okay,
And don't try to really swim the 20 just because it's on the plan or on the schedule. Then you mess up less, more than you gain at the end.
yeah,
Also, the
okay,
thing what triathletes really like to swim with big pedals. I mean, that's the biggest mistake you can do, because look, how can you, if you cannot hold the water or grab the water to catch with with your hand,
yeah,
the pedals are even bigger, so you need even more specific strength. If you don't have that without the pedals, you will do it even more worse with the pedals,
yeah,
because you will cannot pull here
yeah,
under your body, you will pull to the side or whatever, or the straight arm. And yeah, so good thing is to swim with finger pedals,
yeah,
because there you have a little bit more pressure. You can feel it even more if the stroke is right now or not. But
mm,
also one thing, when I start coaching people, I take them the pedals away,
mm,
because they think they do good, but actually they do it even worse, because
okay,
the technique gets even messed up more. So first technique, then a little bit more pace work, and then swimming with back pedals.
Okay. Okay. Also, one thing I
Because
would like.
yeah, of course you're faster with big pedals, but if you take them out, the difference will be even worse, even bigger,
Yeah. Yeah.
after a while,
Yeah.
because you're destroying your technique even more.
Yeah. And perhaps you will get injured if you have the wrong technique,
In
right?
the worst, yeah,
Yeah.
if in the worst case, yes.
One more question towards pool swimming for triathletes, because most of the triathletes they only swim freestyle crawl. What do you think? How important is it to also learn other strokes for a triathlete?
Super important, but it can mix up your training for sure. I mean, it depends how much you swim. Look, when you just swim 2 or 3 times a week, you need to be really efficient and don't waste time on things you don't need in a race. So, I mean, swimming backstroke at least, it's for sure not bad because it's a contra movement to freestyle. So always for easy for recovery. Swimming, that's not bad. Also, maybe in a race when you sometimes choke water or something to lie on your back and be safe in this position too.
Mhm.
But just for training purpose, I think if you have limited time and don't swim more than 2 or 3 times a week. Freestyle, you should try to take the time and do just the necessary thing to learn a proper freestyle stroke.
Mhm. Okay, that's a good information.
I mean, for warm up, it's also good because you get all the muscles warm up, you get movement when you swim backstroke, you stretch the legs a little bit,
Yeah.
adductors and stuff like
Yeah.
this. But like the main workouts or the technique part, they should be in freestyle.
Mm. And when it comes to the transition to open water swimming, because as a swimmer, usually you're only in the pool, but all the races they are in open water. And me myself, I'm struggling a lot with the transition from pool to open water. In the pool, I'm able to swim continuously as soon as I'm in open water. Something changes for myself, and I saw a lot of different people also struggling. Even once I saw an interview with Sebastian Kienle also, who also said for him, swimming in open water, it's also like something mentally that is completely different to running and cycling for sure, but also to pool swimming as I understood, because your head is always down. You have to navigate. It's for the head also hard. How do you do that? What can you advise people?
Yeah, also, first of all, to get the technique right in the pool first, and then have it as good as possible that you're not getting surprised in open water, that you can react on if you have waves or if you have people around you, that you don't get panic or that you swim a little bit different a couple of strokes, but you always have to have this technique in your mind that you always come back to this. Of course, like I said, you need to navigate, have people around you, you need to swim around buoys. That's a little bit different, but that you also can practice, like with in the different scenarios in the pool for before you go to the open water. But yeah, you need to be mentally stronger probably because you don't have the turns. You have no black line under you. You cannot just go
Yeah,
out of the pool like in the pool. But that's, I think, you need just to concentrate or just sit down before the race and get mentally prepared for it.
yeah. Okay.
Also before the open water to workout during the preparation. And then also, like everything, you need to practice, practice, practice it over and over again until it gets normal or becomes normal.
Hmm. Yeah, interesting for me, for sure. The hardest part, what you said about running, I would like to say about swimming, but I'm not going to say I hate swimming. Uh, yeah, I'm actually excited to talk now about the topic that for sure also for some of our listeners is very interesting. because as you said before, you're giving workshops. For now, you only gave these workshops in Germany so far because you live in Germany.
In
But
Austria too.
in Austria, you gave it to, of course, because your team is Austrian, so you have to
Yeah.
show up there as well, I guess. But very soon you will come also to Poland, and in October this year you will be in Krakow for 2 days for 2 workshops. And yeah, I would really get to know what because you have this unique workshop. You can say you developed it yourself, especially also for people that are not yet uh, into swimming. So it's basically for beginners that are already able to swim continuously in the pool for several hundred meters, but for people that can improve their technique. And I would really like to hear what was your motivation, especially to help age groupers also, not only in Germany, in Austria, but also in Poland. And how did you form this workshop?
I mean, the motivation was because I knew so many people and they always asked me about personal training hours and stuff like this, or even like bigger groups to have workshops with them. And then I was always busy because I was coaching here also full time for like we said in the previous questions.
Mm,
I was really employed here, like for as a no, I would say state national coach. So I didn't have the time, and then I also did my own triathlon and didn't have the time for it. Now I started, yeah, actually that was also not the plan, like the triathlon career to do it, but we became pretty successful this year. I got a lot of people asking me if I could do it with them with different groups, either with different workshops with like 20 people, somewhere only with four. And yeah, because it actually really hurting me if I know the people personally and see what they do wrong, and they put so much effort in their sport, so much hard. They work full time, 40 hours a week, and I see them how they just wasting their time with swimming, and especially if you know the people, like some of them are good friends for me. It's like really nice to help them to get a structure in the
yeah.
freestyle. And because they all the people who came to my workshop after that, they tell me I didn't even know that I have this muscle, like because they never activated this. Most of them, like I said, they just pulling through the water without activating their main muscle, which are the lat
Mm,
muscles. Would propel them forward, they always just either they just use the shoulder, or they don't use the muscles which are necessary for better
mm,
swimming. And
mm,
that I trying to explain to people. That's why I teach every part, like three parts of the stroke. um First the catch, then the pull, and then the push behind. And this I try to break down and do drills for every a single part of it, and to explain to people which muscle need to be active in which part of the stroke.
yeah.
Because some or most of the people just do it, the timing is completely wrong, and messed up. And that's what
Yeah.
I say. You see some videos of how people swimming, but you don't actually know what really happens. You just see that they move their arms somehow, but nobody explained to them which muscles is
Yeah.
working at which part of the stroke.
Yeah. Awesome. So it shows, first of all, it shows that you're a very empathetic person, that you want to help people, and that you want people not to waste time in the water. Most of the triathletes
Yeah, because I heard
can
so many
waste time.
people they 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 spend so much time in the pool, especially during the winter, that nothing happens. The results are actually zero. Of course, they're zero because they're still swimming with this same messed up technique. And I think, meanwhile, at least also the people said that I can explain it really good, to the
Yeah.
people what to do.
Yeah.
So
You have a lot of experience as a coach, state coach. You have several different triathletes or swimmer you were working with. So for sure, you got so much experience explaining these things. That's just
Yeah.
what happens when you do it again and again, right?
Yeah, but that's also what I said before. Um, Also, I learned when I started to do this with age groupers, because also I did the mistake what I said before with when you're a good athlete and know how to do it,
Yeah,
that you assume everybody should be able to do it. And then it also took me a little bit of time to get to know, to be more patient, and to ask myself why they're doing it like this, and then
yeah,
I try to find different ways to explain them.
yeah,
And I'm really stubborn when I start with someone. I don't mind to stay with him when we scheduled 1 hour. I don't mind to stay 2 hours, because I want to have the when the girl or the boy leaves the pool, or the man or the woman leaves the pool after we had the personal training. I want that they really learn something.
yeah, yeah. That's for
That
sure a good motivation.
some learn faster, some it takes longer, but there's always a way.
Yeah,
I had like 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, I had a one-on-one coaching with actually a really good age group who could qualify for Kona next year. So in the 30 to 35, 4 years old age group category, which is actually really fast already.
yeah,
But he was always the best on the on the bike and running in his age group, but he lost sometimes 15, 20 minutes on the swim. And with him, it was a little bit of a struggle, because he really was not that talented in swimming, but always just after 1.5 hours, he found a way, and he improved just after 1 hour, because he got the technique a little bit better, and he improved already by 5 minutes within 3 weeks
mm.
at his last Ironman. So
Okay,
yeah,
that's a lot. 5 minutes within such a
I'm
short
not
time.
I'm not saying that it um, works for everybody, but depends how fast you can transfer it. The what I
Yeah,
tell him, if you can get it right away, or you need a little bit more practice.
yeah. And then
Everybody's
also,
different.
if you put in the time, if it takes longer for you, if you're not able to get it so quickly, then of course you have to put in the
Yeah,
time
but
and be
yeah,
consistent for weeks.
but yeah, of course, but that you need to keep in mind that technique, especially in swimming, doesn't happen overnight.
Mm,
I mean, the other person which I just talked about, he was really fit already. He did also strength training. He just had the wrong activation in his muscles, the wrong timing. And we just switched the timing, and it was already 5 minutes faster.
yeah,
But he was already in really good shape.
yeah,
But he still has to do a lot of work to get really better in swimming.
yeah.
But
Good.
yeah, it takes time. The thing when you come the first time to my workshop is that you leave the workshop and at least know what you have to do now, what you need to work on it, or on what you need to work.
Yeah,
That you get the
yeah,
timing and just have a structure in your stroke, and don't move your arms somehow without even knowing what you're actually doing.
yeah,
That's the goal of our workshop, which what we do in October.
yeah. Makes me very excited to see you in action and to get to know also these secrets, you can say. I mean, they're not secrets, but someone has to explain you, to show you, to tell you. And yeah, for the end, of course, I would like to thank you for being in this podcast, which is a great honor for me to talk with you on the podcast. And yeah, I would like to, yeah, briefly sum up what will be in this workshop, because there will be two practical training sessions in Krakow. Then there will be theory and strength session. At the end, you will give a video analysis for every attendant. And yeah, you can say as an additional benefit, we will have a group lunch all together, and of course also the opportunity to ask you questions. And other ambitious triathlete, age group triathletes or swimmers will be there. So whoever comes for sure will have very good networking as well. Key details will be available in the show notes here and on our webpage, on Facebook, on Instagram. And if anyone listening to this podcast is more interested to get to know more about you, I'm sure most of them know already about you. You have your Instagram page where you are very active and you have a lot of videos and tips and tricks for swimming. You are reachable also over Instagram if someone has questions or wants to work together with you.
Every time.
That's it from my side. Do you want to give our listeners anything at the end?
Yeah, I hope a lot of people will join us in October, and I'm excited to see to see how I can help the people, because that really gives me joy, you know, like back then I was just focusing on results, and now when I started with the workshops in January, I was really make me happy when I see that I could help someone, you know. It really was a feeling I didn't know before.
Yeah.
Like this, you know, that they really had a workshop one day and they really left the pool then and really learned something, you know, and became better. So far, everybody who joined my workshop and wrote me some feedback after that, or had his first race now, there was nobody who got worse. Actually, everybody improved somehow, you know, some are more, some are less, but you know how it is. And they just swim one time, then you of course cannot expect that you improve that much. But also he improved just on focusing on a better technique.
Yeah, for sure, that's a very smart way to find small details, small things, perhaps to improve their swimming and to shift to an easier swim and to be able to not only to stay afloat but also to move forward. Of course,
I mean, I think
ideally like you in in all the videos we can see online.
I think especially when it comes to swimming, the quote when you say work smarter, not harder, really is correct when you are talking about swim technique or swimming in general. Because when you, like I said, when you push too hard at the front, you don't reach anything.
Yeah, that's
So you need to be patient and gentle to the water.
these are true words, wise words, very wise words, and I think perfect sum up for the end of this podcast. Thank you, Lukasz, once again.
Thanks for having me.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.